Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Rome 2 Total War with the Caesar and Gaul campaign. So I think we've finally reached a breakthrough to break the stalemate. So because of a number of different problems we've been having, we've really had a stalemate where we wouldn't be able to actually gain any ground, or it was more like one step forward and then immediately one step backwards without no real gain. Hopefully at this point we have actually reached an opportunity where we can do some real change in this campaign and actually gain some ground on the Averni. And that is why there's once again a little bit of a jump here, quite a few turns in between last episode and this, because I've been grinding away trying to find a way to actually break the stalemate. And doing that on camera would, yeah, I don't think that would have been... maybe what I was thinking was that I could possibly have made a, like a compilation, a quick compilation, just go through, like, all the outer resolves, quickly go through some of the battles, But the thing is, through the process, it's quite tedious, and I was actually interrupted today when I was working on it by none other than Jehovah's Witness that wanted to come and read a tiny passage out of the Bible to me, which had like it's so, and the thing is that they were so creepy. They creeped me out so much that like I lost the entire like plot of everything, because these two creepy ladies came and talked about some time where diseases wouldn't exist, and wouldn't that be nice? And like, yeah, it would be nice, but there's a lot of other things that also would be nice, like if I was a millionaire, but that's not gonna happen just by wishful thinking. So yeah, so they really creeped me out, and then gave me some crappy pamphlet or something. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and explain what happened since last time, and then we're actually gonna make some changes here. So let's go over to the strategic view. So you might notice, well, first there's this, but maybe we'll not go through that first. So the first thing was, I was playing through, I was fighting these armies, like fighting off the barbarians, attacking all over the place. A lot of Narbo, doing a lot of battles there, just grinding down the enemy, putting them to the meat grinder. And trying to find a way to find an opening against the enemy. And so I finally thought I had it, because there's a few territories that fall back and forward into my hand and the Averni, and it was this Viso and this one over in Aquitaine, which is Elimbris. That little territory, and this one fell back and forth in between my hand and the Averni. So at some point this one formed its own Iberian faction, which we saw. That didn't really impact anything much. However, when the Averni took this at one point, they created or recreated the tribe of Voloconti. And with that triggered a reaction, because Nervi apparently really hates the Voloconti. And so they declared war on the Voloconti immediately, breaking the alliance in between the Averni and the Nervi to the point where they actually declared war on each other because of this. So war became the situation or the status in between the Averni and the Nervi, and I thought, like, yes, finally, now they're gonna be able to, they're gonna focus on each other, and I can go and just mop up the rests of their just slaughtering each other. Unfortunately for me, the war only lasted for one turn. As we can see, the Nervi actually gathered quite a bit of territory during that time, during that war, but they peaced out. The thing was, I played it quite a few times when I loaded saves back and forth, because a number of these occasions, the war actually ended with the Averni vassalizing the Nervi. Not that they, and it was still the war for all the different incarnations of the war. It only lasted for one turn. The outcome was a bit different for each one, depending on who gained territory. But finally I got this one, where they ended with the Nervi not being a vassal of the Averni, so there's still a possibility of war in between them. They're pretty unhappy with each other, I think. And also they gained a few territories, most notably this one, which actually blocks the Averni to come through this valley and attack Viso, which means I can move the Legion from over there, and I can move it down here to aid the cause down here, which means that I've been able to focus 4 legions in this region. And I've also been grinding back and forth over here. At this point I'm actually holding 2 small towns, and this one which I think they rebelled against the Averni possibly, or they possibly rebelled against me. I can't actually remember. But so we've got another faction there, and they've got really weak force being mustered there. They've got one over here and one over there. So these 3 with this one over here is the only full stacks that can come to the aid if I attack anything here. They have a really weak army over here with crappy navies guarding outside. And then that kind of sums up the situation here, and I've got my spies running about, just keeping an eye on everything. And then we've got the situation over here, which is kind of insane at this point. We've got 10 Nervi armies, in which like 5 of them are looting the countryside, which means that I gain no gold from Octojurum, and also I gain 39 minus happiness per turn, or minus 90 points for all their raiding, which completely tanks the happiness of the province, which leads to rebellion. But the crazy thing is, I mean, they've got the king right here, but the king does not dare take on the walls of Octojurum. Instead, he sits out here with 10 full stacks. So each of these full stacks numbers probably around 3,000 to 4,000 men or something like that. Which means there's somewhere around, say, 30 to 40,000 soldiers out here. And they do not dare take on the First Legion and the town walls of Octojurum. Which is kind of insane that they're not. And also that they're all trying to come through here. No one has tried this path, I guess, since Caesar crushed them at the battle here. Does it say what the battle was called? Battle of Merhan. So we got that there, but this is kind of a stalemate, which I like, so we're not going to bother with that. And with that, we're going to actually start to make some moves. So there's 2 moves I want to make. I want to smash these guys before they're able to consolidate and actually make something out of their army down here. And then I want to smash these guys up here and take the city, and in that way also completing the entire province. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring, let's see, yes. What we're gonna do is this one's gonna support, and Caesar, or maybe I should send, I'm thinking here, right, okay, so we're gonna have the 12th Legion. The 12th Legion is the one that's gonna lay siege to Burdigala. Burdigala. We're gonna lay siege at Burdigala with the 12th, which in actual fact could possibly do it on their own, but I want to make sure that we win there, so we're gonna bring up the 9th to support them. It's a bit of a risk here that the some units might die as we do this. So I'm out to save, and I'm hoping I don't have to play it. But I can just auto-resolve through it. Because it's the same kind of siege battle we've done so many times before. So we're gonna quick save. I'm gonna auto-resolve, and I hope that no cohort unit actually dies. And remaining forces actually looks like balanced is the best choice. So we're gonna pick balanced. And we're gonna hope to the gods that no unit dies. No unit dies here, no unit dies here. But look at look at how they move. So I lost 1,000 men, which some seem to have mostly been drawn out of. It's so interesting that most of it seems to be drawn out of the reinforcing army rather than the army that actually laying siege to the town, except for the fact that the army seems to have lost a lot of its bodyguard for the legate and also a lot of cavalry. But we lost 1,000 men, which is not that bad. And the 12th Legion gains rank. We gain Imperium, which is good, because that means that some of these legions can actually get one of these veterans to help them out, and also some dignitaries and spies that can keep an eye on what the Averni is doing. With that attack done, it's actually kind of good that most of it is drawn. Most of the people who die is drawn out of the reinforcement army, because they usually bypass the reinforcement army and go directly for the one in town. So yeah. And with that, we're gonna strike at the next one. And what I think we'll do is we'll have Caesar be the one to strike the town. And then we'll have, what is this, the 7th? The 7th will be the one to reinforce. Caesar could do this on his own, but the thing is, I'm pretty sure that these armies will attack to try and retake it. So we'll move in the 7th to aid Caesar. And the 7th got an interesting setup because they bring... Oh, maybe they should have attacked then. Because they have the Magnus Ballista, which is those stationary ballistas that are huge. Will turn the barbarians' walls to dust with that. So there's less than 1,000 men in town. So, I mean, we know what's gonna happen. It's pretty obvious that we are going to win, and we're gonna go aggressive. And we're gonna cut these Iberian bastards to nothing. For some reason, Caesar is the one that lost a lot of men in this army, and yeah, we only lost 81 men, so I don't know why I was looking at these. And we capture that, and Caesar gains rank and military tradition for the 10th faction destroyed, and now the entire province is under my control. We're gonna actually tear this down. The thing is, you can build upon it, but because of the culture being different, it actually is gonna be easier. It's easier actually to tear stuff down, or it's gonna take less turns if I tear it down and just rebuild. And I have an idea of... I think we're gonna build a lot of consecrated ground to begin with, just because I want to change the culture. But then we'll look into what actually kind of needs to be built there, and that's that done. So now I'm hoping that these guys come in and we'll have a fight against them somewhere. Or if maybe they attack Narbo again. So I gained 15,000 from taking the town. We should actually get 2, since I'm pretty sure this is the place where they're gonna attack, because the AI seems really reluctant. I mean, they seem really reluctant to take on towns. I can understand why. Because it's... because so many people die. trying to take towns.
Ready for orders.
I'm gonna use these 15,000 to upgrade all of these guys now that we have the iron to get those extra shields. But I'm gonna turn that later into weapons, because I think we gonna be more offensive, or we're gonna have that attack skill to make sure that we can land some hits. Also, with the iron now in our hands, we can go ahead and upgrade the barracks to the highest level, which I've been able to achieve. Oh, I was already building that one there. I guess here, but that's too expensive. Why is it so cheap to build that one here then? Is it because something? We don't know. So I've almost got through all of these. We're only missing this one, gladiatorial games, but then we have more or less everything. That would actually reduce recruitment cost by 6%, which is pretty good. And experience rank for light infantry and champions. You know what? I'm gonna go get a champion next turn, so that's pretty good. We get that and we finish off all of the support for all of those. That would be nice. Right. We're gonna go ahead and end turn here and see where the enemy decides to strike. There's obviously 2 open towns which they could take, or if they go to attack Caesar as he holds this town right here. Thing is, I have been fighting in this town before, so I know that there's a pretty good defensive position, because there's a heightened plateau in the middle of the village which you can defend, so that's pretty good. We're gonna end turn. With this also, when I have the entire province, we can see that I make 9,000 a turn, which means that I could raise yet another legion. So that we would have not just 4 moving in this, but we would have 5, which would be really great. Another thing that I've actually noticed as well was that I was looking at the barracks, and I was looking at the difference, because I got the auxiliary barracks, but the thing is, the barbarian auxiliaries are so crap. But the reason that I've seen is the only kind of reason why auxiliary garrison would be worth it, is this unit, which seems to be better than our troops. So it's Celtic battle cavalry or barbarian cavalry that should be better than our own. Frenzied charge, discipline, hiding forest, fires while moving. It's pretty good. So melee attack, melee defense is higher than the Roman cavalry units, so that's good. And they've got 100 health. I don't know, maybe I should actually not just speak without knowing. So these guys got 95 health, so it's smaller changes. But this one has been upgraded quite a bit, and it's got 37 attack. I think if we look at one more newly recruited cavalry unit, we'll see that the barbarian cavalry is a lot better. So this one's got 34. What did I say the recruiting cavalry here had? They had 27. That's pretty darn high. So I think they're better than us. And also, Caesar famously had, like, I think, bodyguard of Gallic cavalrymen traveling with him. I can't remember what YouTube channel I saw, but it's one that explained, like, Caesar's campaign in Spain during the civil war with Pompey. And then he was traveling down, and it was mentioned that his bodyguard at that point, when he was traveling down, consisted of, I think it was 900 or 1,000 Gallic cavalrymen that he has as his bodyguard. So if he was comfortable with traveling with that 1,000 men as bodyguard, then they're probably pretty good fighters. Not that it necessarily has to be represented in the game, but it's kind of a meme that Roman cavalry is crap. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and end turn and see if the enemy goes ahead and attacks us. We're having a Gallic Uprising. For some reason. And someone increased in rank. A lot of agents. Wait, what's that? Can I see that again? Because then I can actually... Alright, we have lots of people. There we go. Gallic Uprising. Hail Caesar! Much of Gaul has been subdued, and resent towards and amongst the tribes has become insurmountable. Prepare yourself for a Gallic Uprising. Rebellion in the region of Aquitaine, gladiatorial games, military disruption. They bribe a unit of mine, and they bribe 2 units of mine. And then we have a rebellion over here as well, and over here, and a little bit all over the place. Right. So I think that was because I took that entire province that probably went into effect. I'm very kind of surprised that the Averni did not try to attack me. So let's see. They have one rebellion force over here. This one's kind of concerning because it could lay siege to this town. I'm pretty sure we could take the force on. I don't know what they have though. We've got a small army here, which will just run over. We've got 2 forces here, so it's seemingly they've moved some forces around at least. But I want to see here what our current position is, and then see if we cannot bring to bear an actual battle that is worth playing. So let's go over here. Do they have something back here? Yes, they do. Sneaky bastards. Let's see, my spy over here sees nothing over there. Can he cross over, see if something is marching down here? Ah, look at that, they hit one in the forest. And then my spy over here, it's not really necessary to be here because the enemy is not marching through here just because of the nervi. So I think we can move this spy away from that region. Could be a bad choice, but that's what we're gonna do. So right now, if we go into the strategic view, we've got then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still a lot of enemy armies. And then we have the rebellious force here, which is the one that is worth dealing with. So very surprised that the AI does not trying to retake anything. So pretty sure Caesar and his forces should be able to crush these. So we'll start off by having Caesar march forward and chase that one away. I wonder if the rebels will aid each other. We'll move up the, what was it, the 7th to aid, and then have Caesar crush this guy. And it actually does bring in this force, but it's utter crap, so we're just gonna go ahead and out-resolve that. Which has, it doesn't matter actually, because they're so poor that there's no chance of victory. 97% of my men is reported to survive, 200 men lost. Oh yeah, I got the city as well. So this is what we have in the city. That's pretty darn nice. More slaves, as I choose the edict for this province to be forced labor, which should help me build this up to be a model Roman city. I think we're gonna make it a garrison colonia, and gonna get a harbor in there. Which one is it? There's one of these that gives... Isn't there one that gives... what we want is third class citizens, I believe, is the one that gives most soldiers. This one is army replenishment, that's one great. This one is going to be tear down and replaced. And then going to increase this one. I think we'll have 2 temples here. So 2 of these temples will stay. I think we're going to remove that one at some point. So we need 1 to be for Neptune, because there's going to be trade in town. And 1 to be Jupiter. This one over here is probably going to be rebuilt into an auxiliary camp. Right, so we smashed the enemy and we still have pretty good movement points. I could strike this town right here, but this one is kind of in the middle and there is a possibility of loads of enemy attacking. Instead, because this province is not too happy right now, I want to station the armies in here instead somewhere. So we're going to try to protect this town right here, which is kind of on the front line right now. So I'm going to bring in... Oh, I was hoping that I could fortify their stand, but that does not seem like that's going to be the case. We're going to just move them close to town. And we have deployed both of these to work the fields here, or work the ground. Should really increase. How much culture change are we seeing? 5%, that's a lot. That's going to be great. We've got 3,000 within the arms populace. 84,000 considered non-Romans, and then 242 of the upper classes. What am I gonna do? I saw this one that leads to replenishment, or we have some military stuff that could be pretty good. 20% of missile damage inflicted by a siege weapon could be rather nice, breaking down walls and stuff. So that's good right there. And right now I'm making 11,000, so we should definitely raise a... what will it be? We've got 4, 5, 6, 7th Legion. A 7th Legion should be recruited. But I'll take a look at that as I end turn, which I should be doing now because we have no more moves. And we kind of know where the enemy is. And I think we're gonna have to fight a defensive battle here, as the enemy will surely strike there. Also, I think we had a rebellion up here. This is kind of dangerous because I'm wondering if he could draw aid from the Nervi, or if there could be a problem here. Also, definitely these, upgrade them. So we're gonna go ahead and save, and then I'm gonna take this one on, and so forth. Anyways, end turn, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Right, so I guess the attack on Nabo was just a diversion, because they actually sent 2 full stacks to attack at Sotium with Caesar and I can't remember which legion. It says right there, the 7th. So the 7th and Caesar's legion are defending, so it's quite clever of me. Clever. I don't know if it was clever, but it's good that I posted them there expecting an attack. We're gonna go ahead and destroy the enemy. Now, I noticed actually when I looked there at the time that the episode is kinda already almost 30 minutes because there was so much explaining. So we'll see what actually happens, how much I will show of this. But I guess some of you don't mind longer episodes, and could very well be worth it. I've noticed the enemy having quite the good luck with the weather. They seem to always be attacking in rain to, I guess, try and reduce the ability of my siege engines to not fire flammable objects at them, and also make it harder for me to set fire to the pits. However, I have the populace of the local area to do that for me and kind of burn themselves in the process. The defense is a little bit different because it's a Roman town. It's actually harder to defend the Roman towns because of, well, we don't get the plateau that certain other areas have and stuff like that. But I think it's going to go pretty well. So we've got the 7th here. I don't know if we've seen the 7th before. One of the ones that I kind of want to show is the one that kind of wears winter clothing, where they have a cloak on and actually full-length pants. As far as I know, as I've seen actually fought in this town before, or similar towns, is that they will go down the main road here, and that's why I'm set that to be on fire. And yes, without further ado, let's go ahead and start. So, the cavalry will leave the village to start off with. Oh, Caesar is gonna come up right behind them.
Reinforcements approaching.
And the enemy reinforcements gonna come in from the right. Which means I should relocate the legionnaires I have on my left over to the right to protect that area. Actually should move them to protect the siege engines. We'll have the legate move to the inside, and we'll have the legionnaire cavalry protect there against possible cavalry incursions. Thing is, the rain doesn't really stop us firing explosive shots, so those are still going out towards the enemy. They're sending in their horse to ride down all my spikes as per usual. Noble horse, really good horse unit. Straight in to the spikes. And also there's murder pits in among this as well. And there were so many of it that the unit is actually almost completely killed off, leaving only 3 of them. The other one over there,
the men are wavering,
is dying as well. Oh shit. No! The Vulgus. Crap. That's a really good way though to kill the enemy by setting that on fire. Luckily I've got Caesar and his troops, but yeah, we can't fire fire shots, can we? The thing is, as we can see, they're mobilizing all their troops to go down there. And the entirety of the 7th will be going into defensive testudo. Probably should make that a rule that we always gonna do that, because we usually lose a lot of men due to their missiles. So there goes another cavalry unit. They're sending 1 cavalry unit actually, and there's another spear unit over here. So we could look at the fight there. Anyways, let's bring in the 10th. Somewhat close. And see if we cannot box these bastards in. And then we bring in the 2 heavier. It's kind of annoying actually that these guys are not selected with the rest, because that makes it so much harder. Like I think in one battle I even forgot to move up the what's it called, the first cohort, because of the fact that I'm kind of hoping that I can set fire to the pits just by explosive shot, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. However, given the devastation of what looks when the explosive shot hit these units, I'm not too worried. Oh, I think we set one on fire. Yes! And all this mess of barbarians gonna move into that. Right, I'm gonna slow down a little bit just so I keep an eye on the situation. Which is something I think, I talked about it before, that I kind of think it's cheating, but when you have a double stack, so 40 units, I think it's okay, because there's so much going on that you couldn't possibly try and see everything that's going on. I think they're kind of firing, probably should fire a little bit more to the right, these shots. It would be nice if I could set fire to more of those. You know what, we've got archers here, exposed in the back. Let's see if my cavalry can ride them down. And then I do think, are these two under fire? Yeah, everyone up here is under fire. But I would really like it if these guys... Can I order them to throw even though they're supposed to be in defensive testudo? Gonna move out of defensive testudo just so they can throw their pila. We'll go back to normal speed. Okay, now we're receiving pilas as well. Did I tell you guys to... Oh, I didn't tell you to throw. I told you just stand ground. Okay, it's okay to throw, guys. There we go. It's always so satisfying to see them drop when all the pilas come in. And they used up all the pilas back into defensive testudo. We're crushing this area. And the cavalry will now ride these guys down. We have a smaller group just of spearmen over here. So I think we can destroy these guys pretty easily. We'll move out of defensive testudo and have everyone throw their pila over here. The enemy has been throwing at us while we were in defensive testudo. The only thing here is that I think that the defenses will actually cover the guys a bit. But given the amount of pilas I've ordered them to throw, I think they still will... Oh, you know what? I saw that their... No, their units did not actually run back to deal with the cavalry, which is killing off their light missile infantry. Interestingly enough, they're holding out quite well against the cavalry. Oh, they have moved up and they've been able to break through here. Guess we'll leave the defensive testudo and tell them to fire at will. Ooh! That coordination, those three that landed right next to each other. I think this force is already kind of doomed, so maybe Caesar should be moving over here. It's interesting how the idiot barbarians are kind of concentrating their force on one place.
Has used all its ammunition.
So I think what we'll do is we'll split Caesar's force. I think we need very little troops to go in and mop this up. So just the Prima cohort and the first one of the 10th. And then the entire 10th is going to move towards this area with the ballistas following. Most importantly, the archers. The archers do so much damage. Where is Caesar? There's Caesar. And then the cavalry can go and focus in on that. I think it's time for the heavies to possibly hold fire. They have already... Let's see how many they've killed. 500 each of the barbarians. That's pretty darn devastating. I think it's time for them to hold fire.
One of our units has used all
They're
its
out
ammunition.
of shot anyways, but I don't want them to hit our own legionary units. Over here there's still some bastards fighting. And now when I sent both of Caesar's cavalry unit, the light skirmisher unit should be done pretty quickly. Tell these guys to hold fire, as I want to fire the Pila at the optimal situation here. Right, they have a few troops gone through. Drop the defensive testudo and fight. It's the general, pretty ballsy of the general there to go in first, but I guess he really wants to show the way. Thing is, they've somehow been able to break through the defensive testudo, and they're kind of all over here. The formation kind of broke down, and it's just a mess here. At the same time, it's raining and there's blood, probably quite slippery on the ground at this point, which would help with the Romans. Their what's it called? Their type of footwear, which would have steel, or not steel, but iron. What's it called? I don't know what it's called in I can't remember what it's called in English. They've completely tried to break through here. There's nothing really here, so I don't even need to bring these guys over there. Instead, we're gonna move these guys now. So these 6. We're gonna bring them in over here to defend there, and then we'll go ahead and join up here, which kind of has a little bit of a problem. Where do I have the legates? See if he can help out with his presence. We have the first cohort of the 10th. We don't want to move into the fire, so we're going to move up here, and then we're going to throw. And these guys, the first cohort of everything. Oh, I see if I can get this one through, and we can sandwich these. First order of business is having this one actually charge in. They're all kind of breaking here. Let's have this one throw its Pila in the backs of the enemy. In the unprotected backs. And once the flames are put out, which seems to be right now, which is kind of perfect that it's put out right now, we're gonna have the first cohort
One of our units has used all its
charge
ammunition.
in. And the entire enemy army that came in from this side is now actually giving up. And it's retreating through the fight over here, which probably messes with the morale of these guys. The rest of the 10th will now move up to complete the sandwich maneuver, with the archers closing in. We've got Caesar as well. The catapults, we'll have this one with explosive shots. It is within reach. The stone thrower, however, is not, so that's gonna have to move up. The fighting over here was done, so all these troops will now join this fight, with these two moving up as reserves. Let's have you join the fight over here, and let's have these guys throw. Just as these guys turn their backs on us, I was thinking they were gonna split.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Jesus Christ, the stupid ballista is shooting the wrong force. Luckily, it seems like they didn't really hit our men. And I think there's a little bit too many legions up here. We're gonna take the one that stood in the front, tell them to pull back, And I'm gonna pull back the 3 in the back as well to kind of hopefully reduce the lag.
By your command. Break off.
Kind of hopefully these guys will break pretty soon.
First cohort.
Being sandwiched. Do we have any abilities to scare the enemy? No, we don't. I want... Oh, it's because everyone's messing up over there. It's not a great angle for this one to fire it. It's probably better over here. Kind of same with the catapult. But I don't know if that's... It looks kind of messy when there's only like 3 cohorts up there defending against all of this. Are the archers firing? No, they're not within range. The entirety of the 10th will now move this close with these guys. Ah, there's a wall there. Guess you're gonna have to come through here and then moves like so and then move down to crush them, just to completely sandwich them. We're winning this fight over here. It's really laggy because of all the men fighting right now. And now there's only 1 unit left and we'll crush that one. So maybe you can tell that I've really become an expert in how to slaughter, well, not maybe an expert, but I've really have figured out how to deal with these massive blobs. Hopefully it actually dragged quite a few of the troops out from this
Our hidden units have
to
been
back
discovered.
off and make it easier for us to actually fight here. And I'll order the 10th to throw their pila, which is probably not going to work out for this naked unit. They try with the little shields. Oh, and then arrows as well come in. And within seconds they're gone. I mean, imagine that. That would cause panic within all the bloody
One of our
army.
units has used all its ammunition.
And now it's actually at this level, yeah, because they're all kind of filtering out of the fight up here.
Romans ready for duty.
It's actually saving the frames. Attack over there. These two will join. The first cohort will help with its kind of elite unit bonuses. Oh, and the catapult has been starting firing rocks into that.
The enemy general is dead.
Ooh, that's gonna mess them up. I imagine they're all gonna try to retreat out of here, so we're gonna put the cavalry here just as a guard. Damn, the rocks. Yes, that is what you've been waiting for. I kind of want to hold off from starting the fight. Look at how close they are at each other here. Inching towards each other without actually fighting. And then we have all kinds of rocks and crap just pummeling into them. And they're not being able to make any headway here, and the general unit has been fighting for so long at the front line that oh, this one's only at 47. You'll retreat. Has been fighting so long, and now the general's dead and everything. Let's see the explosive shots. Aim for the archer units, because they will always be in the back. Kind of just standing here next to each other, waiting for the command. Just want to get a few of those explosions in there to really set the enemy off. And I also want
The enemy
these
general
two
is
cohorts to come in from the side and really... Right now the second general is dead, meaning the armies are completely
At your service.
without leadership.
Orders. Ready and waiting.
And that is when we strike. And I'll tell the ballistas to hold fire.
Romans, ready for duty.
And I think we'll start to see them crumbling
At your orders.
as we all push in here. And it's a just absolute mess. There is a
Brave Romans to a man.
kind of an opening there. So we'll order that cohort to move over and block any retreat. Thing is, I'm pretty sure we can use these two
At speed.
to block that. And now these two
Double
should actually be told to run into position and then fire their peelers in the back of these. And now these two will be thrown in.
Jupiter gives us strength. Legionaries.
And everything's going fine. We've locked them all in.
Get us. Yes, leaders.
And it's all about slowly whittling these guys down. I think seeing other units dying is probably gonna start breaking up the others. So if I focus in the archer fire on weaker units, then we're gonna see some like a rout going through everything. That guy didn't even have a weapon a second ago. You really don't want to be naked or in the middle of a battlefield against a heavy unit like the Roman legionaries. And we're rather quickly pushing these guys back. And crushing them. Oh, look at that, they're pulling back towards this area.
Ready and waiting.
Have these guys thrown? Yes, they have.
Speed.
I think we're looking at the end here.
For glory.
Tell everyone to
Melee troops awaiting orders.
move in for the final kill.
Legionaries.
So the 10th is moving in, and it's just such a mess because it's so many troops. And then you have lightning and rain up ahead. And this absolute slaughter on the streets as they're being pushed together. And there we have victory. There's no point in continuing, as I think I've said that I noticed through all the battles that it's actually better just to click end battle right here, because the computer will kind of auto-resolve as chasing them down, and usually you get so much better result with that. So we're gonna go end it right here rather than try to chase anyone down. And there we have it. It was even better than I thought, not actually chasing them down, because there's only 99 men remaining of the enemy army, which numbered 8,300, meaning that 8,201 enemies were killed. Actually, we captured 1,000 men now when I look at it. 1,000 barbarians, that's pretty unusually high. We only lost 1,000 men compared to the enemy, which lost their entire force, 95%. And both the full stacks were utterly crushed and destroyed and will no longer be on the battlefield. Some of our units lost pretty sizable amount of troops, but we can move back and replenish those and still have legions on the front line, which is good. Gonna go ahead, since I used the forced labor on this province, I'm gonna go ahead and enslave captives, but as this episode has already gone on for way too long, I think we're gonna end it right here. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.